Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're opening the case file on a really mysterious and honestly pretty dangerous family of bacteria. These are the spiral-shaped suspects behind some of history's most notorious diseases. And believe me, their methods are as clever as they are sneaky.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to meet these spiral suspects. Then we'll dig into the case files on leptospirosis, syphilis, and Borrelia infections. And finally, we'll see how we actually crack the case.
All right, first things first. Let's get to know these suspects. What makes this whole family of bacteria so different? And how does that signature spiral shape of theirs give them such a scary advantage? So you look at these three diseases, right? Leptospirosis, syphilis, and Lyme disease. They seem totally different. One's from water, one's an STD, and the other comes from a tick bite. But here's the thing. They're all caused by the same type of bacteria, a type that has a very, very unique way of getting around. And that answer is spirochetes. They're basically microscopic corkscrews. And that shape, it's not just for show. It lets them literally drill their way right through our body's tissues. It's pretty wild. And get this, they're so thin, they're practically invisible under a normal microscope. You need special techniques just to see them, which makes them super hard to catch in the act. So within this big family of spiral suspects, there are three main culprits you really need to know about. Think of them as the most wanted: Leptospira, Treponema, and Borrelia. These are the big ones we're going to investigate today, and each one has its own unique way of causing trouble. Okay, let's dive into our first case file, leptospirosis. This one is all about a waterborne threat. It's a crazy story of how one of these spirochetes can take something you'd never think twice about, like a puddle, and turn it into a serious danger zone. And here's how it all goes down. It starts with infected animals. We're talking rodents, farm animals, you name it. They pee, and the bacteria gets out into the soil and water. It just sits there, waiting. Then someone like you or me comes along, maybe with a small cut on their foot, or they get a splash of water in their eye. And that's all it takes. The bacteria has found its way in. So what happens once it's in? Well, at first, it might just feel like the flu. You get a fever, your muscles ache, maybe your eyes get red. But if it gets serious, this thing really goes on the attack. We're talking major damage to the liver and kidneys, causing things like jaundice and even kidney failure. This severe form, called Weil's disease, can even attack the heart. It's no joke. And just to be clear about how serious we're talking, when leptospirosis gets severe, the fatality rate can be anywhere from 5 to 30%. That's a huge deal, especially for people who work with animals or in areas with a lot of flooding. All right, moving on to our next case file. This one's about a real master of disguise, a spirochete with a long, notorious history. We're talking about syphilis. It's called the great imitator for a reason. It can look like so many other illnesses, which makes it incredibly tricky to diagnose. And the way it progresses, it's just so sneaky. It happens in stages if you don't treat it. First, you get a single sore, but it's painless, so it's super easy to ignore. Then a few weeks later, a weird rash shows up, often on your hands and feet. After that, nothing. It can just go dormant for years, like a ticking time bomb inside your body, before it comes back with a vengeance decades later, causing serious damage to your heart, brain, pretty much everything. The good news? We have a weapon against this thing. A really, really good one. Penicillin. It absolutely knocks out syphilis and has been the go-to treatment for a very long time. But here's where it gets kind of weird. You start the treatment to get better, but for a little while, you can actually feel worse. So what's up with that? Why would the cure make you feel sick? Well, it has a name, the Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction. Basically, the penicillin is so good at its job that it kills a massive number of these spirochetes all at once. When they all die and break apart, they release a bunch of junk into your system, and your body freaks out a little. It causes a temporary fever, chills, muscle aches, but it's actually a sign the medicine is working. Okay, on to our last case file for today. We're looking at Borrelia. What's special about this group is that they don't work alone. They use other creatures, what we call vectors, to get around and infect people. And this group is responsible for two big ones you've probably heard of. First, there's Lyme disease. That's the one carried by